Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Ready, Set, Grow podcast. I am your host, Mark Brewer, and I've got my friends Scott and Hunter Wilson. One of the things that we've recognized is a super big time waster in churches is ineffective meetings.
Yeah.
And there's a meeting that really all of us have, and it's called a staff meeting.
Yeah. No matter what size of church, you're going to have some kind of staff meeting, whether it's volunteers or paid or whatever. And
talk about the coaching call.
We just had the coaching call, and we asked, hey, guys, if you're, how would you rate your staff meeting? Red, yellow, green, red being, this is bad. Everybody hates it. Yellow, it's
I was
good
even
sometimes.
saying that red was like, if there's any way this meeting can be skipped, I would be so happy, right?
And it may not be the pastor, but it may be other people saying that. Most of the time, but we were asking lead pastors. And what was funny is the majority of them gave it a yellow or a red. There weren't a whole lot of greens, which means that they're saying, I'm hearing feedback that maybe we could be more effective in the meeting. I just don't know how to do it. Because let's be honest, growing up, I only had one pastor. That was my dad. And I was on his staff from 17 till I was 30. And so the only staff meeting experience I knew was what I had from him. And so I knew sometimes, like, this is so frustrating because I'm having to sit here for 30 minutes while he's talking to somebody he's frustrated with.
Well, he would
the
deep dive into every category, every department.
Okay, let's talk about the youth. And he'd hit mine. Okay,
well, those
thank you.
things could actually go 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
And you'd sit there just going like, golly,
get me out of here.
This is terrible.
Yep.
And even the time he wanted to teach us Spanish because we needed to be able to connect with people in the community.
So that became a component of the staff meeting. But he was doing what had been modeled.
Yes.
And we were recognizing, there may be a different way to build out a staff meeting.
Yeah,
here.
and so those guys were going, I don't know that it's the most effective. Could you? And we said, okay, let's talk about it.
Yeah, I think what happens is kind of like what you guys are saying is most meetings aren't designed with intentionality. They're executed from what was modeled to them.
Yeah.
And what was modeled to them is an all-staff meeting is a catch-all for anything I want to have happen.
Wow. As a lead pastor.
And the catch-all can be, we're doing Spanish. We are talking about every department's projects I want them to start this week.
I saw something on Sunday I didn't like. Can I bring
this
up?
It could be evaluation. It could be kickoff meetings to projects. It could be Spanish, what I think was what you were just doing. Y'all lost me there. See, y'all learned some Spanish. I don't
even know if I said it.
I don't know if we learned it, but yes, anyway. Yeah, so it becomes a catch-all. It's a giant bucket that doesn't have specificity. There's not a plan. There's not a strategy.
Yeah, so what we teach with any meeting that you do, but especially the all-staff meeting, because that's something that we want to have happen on a weekly basis.
Let me make sure I'm clear on this, because sometimes I think people get they may misunderstand all staff. When you're saying all staff, you're saying whoever the department leaders are, whether it's whether it's paid or not paid, but these are kind of the department leaders, pastors, not necessarily all the administrative personnel, all the finance people, if you have a larger church.
Yeah, I think when it comes to staff, we really mean team. And team is, there's a lot of meetings to team, even dream team, right? In dream team, I'm really talking about, I'm separating the people that show up on Sundays to hold open the doors. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about God has called our church to accomplish a vision that we want to see happen this year. Who's working behind the scenes, even if they're in real estate and they're volunteering as our youth pastor right now. Okay. It's behind the scenes people that are working during the week to make the vision happen and come to reality. Whether they're paid or they're volunteer, they're on the team. And so this meeting is where we want to get into alignment as an organization. So what we teach our pastors that we work with, the clients that we work with, is every meeting should have a purpose to it. Any repeating meeting needs to have a clear purpose. Okay. And that purpose is the first place to start when it comes to the all-staff meeting. What I like to have as a purpose, and again, this is going to be subjective to whatever you want the purpose to be, because the elements or the agenda to the meeting are really the Lego blocks that you're building up to accomplish the purpose of whatever you want the purpose to be, right? So inside of this, I like to say that the purpose of this meeting, of the all-staff meeting, is to align the team around what matters most. And then also drive execution forward together. So what this means is I want to align the team of the vision and remind everybody. A lot of people don't need to hear new things. They need to be reminded of what matters most.
Yes.
Right? And then drive execution forward together is really about holding people accountable. So this is my catch, my organizational meeting catch, to make sure that what we said we were going to do is actually getting worked on.
Right.
So that I don't have to have hallway conversations to micromanage people and be like, so how's that thing going? How's that project? Anytime I'm worried about it, I can do a check-in once a week during this meeting to make sure that we're moving things forward.
Yep.
Okay, I can buy into that's the purpose of my staff meeting. I got it. I want to align everybody, drive it forward, have the accountability. I know what's going on. Do it.
So the elements, if you're going to build Lego blocks, it's going to feel like art, but it's built like Legos. These are the elements that I would want included if I'm trying to accomplish that agenda. And we can talk about this as long as you want to.
Okay.
I would start with a P3, and then I would end with the team check-in, and then everything else in the middle can kind of go in whatever order you want to go
so
in.
when we're talking about P3, we're talking about prayer.
Yeah, so I'll start with that in a second.
Go.
But inside of this agenda all adds up to it's roughly like a 62-minute meeting, but you can balloon this up or balloon this down to whatever you want.
Okay.
So if you want a 90-minute meeting, you could balloon some of these sections up. If you want it to be a 30-minute meeting, you can balloon them down.
So the great thing about this is you have all of these components. It's somewhat of a buffet.
Yeah.
You want to have a couple
menu
that are always there, but then it's a menu that you can add in, and you can also determine the portion of what you're adding in.
Of time.
I really love it.
In this, what I like to do and what I teach in any repeating meeting. So first of all, the repeating meeting needs to have a clear purpose, because how do I know if a meeting's good if I don't know what we're trying to accomplish?
Right.
The second portion is we want to have repeating headers in the agenda. So the headers stay the same, but the bullet points change every week.
Yep.
Let me show you what I mean. So inside of this, we'll always do announcements. The header stays the same, but what those announcements are this week, the 4 announcements, could change every week. We're always going to do a team teaching, but the team teaching is going to change every week. We're always going to look at the mission metrics, but it changes every. Okay, see what I'm saying?
Yep.
It needs to have an agenda where the headings stay the same, but the bullet points change every week. So let's go inside of this, and Dad, I want to cue you up in this. Is we start with 10 minutes on the P3. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so it's praying in the Spirit, praying with understanding, and then praying in agreement. And what we're talking about when we're saying that is that we're praying, and we have whole courses on this. I've got a book on this, all of that. But when we're saying pray in the Spirit, if you're charismatic or that type of deal, then it could be praying in tongues or doing this, but it could just be that you're praying in the Spirit, just saying, okay, God, I'm really praying that we want to hear from you.
Yep.
Then you're listening, and that's where you're praying with understanding. You're receiving from the Lord. What is he saying? And then there's going to come a time that, hey, what did you hear from the Lord? What did you guys hear? And somebody's writing it down, and then we read that back and we come into agreement with it.
Yep.
And it's a pretty powerful deal that
we could definitely do a
prayer.
whole episode on the P3 stuff, but basically what we're wanting to do is not
It's
just
more than
open
just
the
open.
agenda.
Yes.
We're not trying to open the agenda in prayer and just be like, God bless this time. Amen. All right, here's the bullet points. It's basically, we want to carve out time to hear from God and document what we feel like the Lord is impressing on our hearts and sharing it as a collective, as a team.
So 2 things that are happening here is we're reminding ourselves by this practice that we are not the head of the church. He's the head of the church.
Yes.
And so we're listening to what he is saying. Secondly, it's that we're not doing this individually. We're doing it corporately. We all hear from the Lord, and we're bringing it together to go forward.
And I would say this is a portion to remind ourselves of we want to stay in the pocket.
Yes.
Can you talk about that? Like, stay in the sweet spot. Like, we don't exist where God's like, God, bless our plans, bless our...
No, we're not trying to get it where, hey, here's my vision, so now we're praying, begging God to get on our team.
Yes.
No, we're his team. God doesn't exist to help me accomplish what I want. I exist to accomplish what he wants. And so when I hear from him, we're listening to him. Then when we come into agreement with that and move forward, then we already know it's blessed, it's empowered. And so we want to stay right in that will of God.
Stay in the pocket.
Stay in the pocket. Yep.
So we start with P3. We do that every single week. Then we move to the staff values. So we talked about staff values before. Staff is just anybody that's on the team. We just talked about that. And so what I want to do is remind ourselves of the behavior that we need to accomplish the vision. What are the characteristics necessary for our team to accomplish the vision? So the staff values is something that aren't what the church, what we believe or what we care
It's not
about.
front facing. This is how we operate as a team, how we're functioning and behaving with each other and getting after the work.
So like think about like a sports team saying like, look guys, this is what is most important. We got to lock things down on defense right now. Like we cannot get sloppy in the, like what are the characteristics? What are the things we need to focus on right now? So like some of the values that are important to us right now is, man, we got to be as simple as possible. We got to be as automated as possible. We just launched a new product for us where we could have 100 people sign up in a weekend, and it can't be a manual process to get them onboarded. It has to be automated where people can
what I like that you've done a lot of times in our meetings together, we all know these, but we make sure that they show up in written form in the agenda. Okay. And then I like how a lot of times you'll say, hey, Mark, what's one of our staff values? And I'll say, hey, be as simple as possible. But you'll ask for an explanation or an example that we're doing.
Yeah. So I would just go around in a circle during our staff meeting. So again, it's only 5 minutes. I'm not looking for long. I would either do one of two things. One is, me as a leader, I'm going to read through as like, hey guys, you remember in this season, we need to be as simple as possible, as automated as possible, as relational as possible. We need to be storytellers. We need to be data driven, And I would say, you know what was awesome this week? Mark just did a great example of simple as possible when he made this decision in this meeting. So I'm going to try to call out people
what
that
gets
are
celebrated gets done. And so you're honoring people, but that's also saying, oh, that's how we win around here.
Yeah. So I think a great representation of that was Mark in this meeting. I love how you blah, blah, blah. That's such a great representation of simple as possible. Okay. That's one hand, but I think that can get a little Charlie Brown teacher type of thing. And so inside of that, what I want to do is I want you to say it with your words, what you think this means. So they'll be like, so we go around in a circle. Mark, let's start with you. Emily, let's go to you next. Laura, we'll go to you next. And read it out and say, why is that important to us right now in this season? So staff values, super important. We talked about it for 5 minutes on this podcast, but it usually only takes 5 minutes. It's a reminder of what are the characteristics. Now we go to the team teaching. And the team teaching's here for the leadership development. Can you talk about this? Because I thought it was something that was really important for you, for people to hear Dad's heart.
Yeah, because you have always been, we're living in this reality. You have always had a foot in the local ministry of what God was asking us to do as a local church, and a foot in the global ministry of what God was asking you to do as a visionary leader in pouring into other pastors and leaders. So that meant that we had to set up a system that could accommodate that. You're being out, you're being here, you're being out. Part of that was we needed to make sure that on that all-staff meeting, which was likely the most important meeting that we would have every single week, you were always there, and we had a spot where you could share your heart. You could share what God had been speaking to you. You could share something that you had been seeing in the scripture to connect heart to heart, because most of the management day-to-day stuff I was doing.
So I think what's important on this is that I missed this for a season in the church where I thought, hey, I can delegate to you not only the management, but to even kind of the visionary part, and where maybe I don't even have to come, at times,
and
or whatever.
It was a confidence thing. You weren't trying to slough it off.
Well, it was it was a confidence, but it was also a type of deal like I felt like it was empowering you to do that. And yet what happened is there was a vision drift, not because you weren't in the vision. It's just you're trying to say what's in my heart. And really, it needs to be that the visionary part needs to come from me. I can't delegate the vision casting.
And I think inside of this is not a team teaching to add new ideas mid-cycle.
No.
This is a place to reinforce with metaphor, with story, with a teaching that is doubling down on what we're committing to for this cycle.
But it may be it may even just be like, how can I help you grow spiritually, relationally, in your personhood, in your family? How can I help you be a better leader? How can I help you with the way you're thinking? All of these, it's about helping them. And if it's talking about vision stuff, then it's about the vision of what we're doing.
Well, we've already committed to just don't make this a place to where you're whiplashing people mid-cycle. All right, so the team teaching is 10 minutes. Again, we're going through a visual on the iPad. We're going to try to talk it through, but if you want to look at this, you can watch this episode on YouTube as well. Okay, next up is every week we are going to review the past Sunday, and we call this the start, stop, and scale. So start, stop, and scale is looking at our friends at Intentional Churches who are awesome, Bart and Doug. They're amazing. They have this tool called the 15 links, which is basically from the one's perspective, like the 1 and the 99, the lost person's perspective. When they're encountering your church for the first time, they're walking through an experience beyond the service. So it's like, hey, how'd that go for the lost person? They're not just thinking about the message. They're not just thinking about the worship. They're thinking about the entirety of the experience, right? So this could be from the parking lot all the way to that time they pick up their kids and they're pulling out of the parking lot. And are they getting stuck in like 5 o'clock traffic getting out of your parking lot and it takes them an hour? Inside of this, we want to look at the whole totality of the experience. And we want to start thinking about how can we make every Sunday better? That's what I think this really is how can we make every Sunday better? So start, stop, and scale really stand for what are the things that we're not doing that we should start doing?
What I love about this too, though, Hunter, you talked about this. You can shrink or balloon this as needed, but right now you've got 10 minutes set up there. This is not a place to go fix everything and all the history of humanity.
This isn't your IGP. This isn't your growth plan day.
This is a thing we've got a short window here to surface some things that are top of mind on start, stop, scale. And we need to recognize there are parameters here. This isn't an unlimited discussion. And I would think that we would have to be careful to protect that.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is a place to capture. And a lot of times you're just going to add these ideas to the ideas list that we're going to bring up at the in the cool down for planning for the next cycle.
Because I get start is, hey, I see we need to probably do something here because this is a problem. We need to fix this.
Stop is twofold because these are things that we're doing that we should stop completely or we should trim back on. So we shouldn't do as frequently, as big.
Not as much energy, time, talent, and treasure spent on this.
We should do less of or complete it completely or eliminate it completely. Scale is thinking about what are the things that are going right that we should amplify. So what are the things that people love? What are the things that are going right? What are the things that are working? We shouldn't just try to fix the little potholes. We should double down on the areas that are actually going well.
Like when y'all say, man, you preach really good. Could you go longer?
Kinda. So I think the idea here is amplifying the things that are going well, but also the scale embraces this idea of we have an assumption that we're going to grow in the number of people that we're ministering to, the number of rooms that are going to be open, the number of buildings and services. And so if this thing's going well, how can we continue to scale it for the next season? As it grows.
So in this, I think one of the best ways to do this is please don't come to this portion of the meeting with, I'm going to remember all the things that happened on Sunday, right? What we teach all of our clients is that you need to have, you could do it on a pen and paper, you could do it on your Apple Notes, you could do it on whatever you want to write things down with, is you have these 15 links in your folder, in a notes app, right? And you are writing down during the Sunday experience. As you go. You're not going to remember. When you think about like, oh man, the people are waiting like 25 minutes and showing up like 30 minutes late to service because our coffee shop line is so long. You're not going to remember that stuff, right? The little details of like, ooh, that volunteer did something really weird. We need to talk to them about that. Like all that kind of stuff, write it down as you go, and then you bring it to the meeting. So you're not coming out with like, let me think about things I need to start, stop, and scale. You're coming ready.
You've already created your list. All right, what's next?
All right, 10 minutes. Doesn't mean that because we wrote it down, doesn't mean that we're green lighting it and saying go. We're just capturing it so we can always be thinking about how we can make Sunday better. Next up is our mission metrics. The mission metrics is basically saying, what is the mission that we're pursuing this year? What are our annual goals that we're pursuing? And what metrics are those? What metrics are the mission for this year? Right? So we might have like 5 things that we want to see like a 26% increase in. And I say 26 because we try to teach our churches that we want to help you double in 3 years. If you want to double a metric, so like you're a church of 200 and you want to get to 400 in 3 years, you want to grow by 26% year over year for 3 years, and then you'll hit double. So what are the metrics that we're pursuing in this season, and how are we doing on this red, yellow, or green? Are we on track? Are we behind? Are we totally off? And this, again, is not a time to fix it. It's just a time to realize where we're at.
Yep.
So we're checking the trend lines of red, yellow, or green. Is this on track or off track?
What are some mission metric that we might be doing, a church might be doing?
So I think you could do salvations. You could do baptisms. A lot of people are looking at, we want to double the baptisms in 3 years. Like, great. I think that's awesome. Total weekend attendance, first-time guests.
Yeah.
It could be a number of things inside of this, but those are some common ones that we see people want to attend. And what I think you really are looking for here is, what is the first domino that if we focus on this, it has a ripple effect in multiple areas.
Those are decision-making metrics where if that thing's green, what
a
will
lot
we
of
do
other
to keep
things
it green?
are going to be.
It could be like growth track. Like we know if we can get them to growth track, our chances of them staying in the church is more. So you want to choose those things. Like for us, it was like baptism. A year later, 80% of the people who got baptized in our church were still in the church a year later.
Yep. Okay, next up is the going, gone list. So this is really getting a data report that we are querying.
We're doing a query.
We're doing a query from our database.
Yes.
And basically it is a filtered search to say, what are the list of people that have been gone for more than 6 weeks?
Right.
And are they going? They're going. Okay, they're gone. We don't want to make sure that we find out a history lesson of like, hey, Bill and Susan haven't been here in like 6 months.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you talking about? Right?
And then people leave, and then they tell people, I've been gone 6 months. They haven't even called. They haven't done anything. They don't even know.
So what we look for in this going, gone list is in the ways that people make themselves known in our organization. So this could be like they check in their kids. This could be that they check in because they're serving and they're volunteering with us. This could be that they check in and make themselves known by an offering and a gift, right?
Signed up for an event.
This could be an event that they signed up for. Some people even do this during small groups, that they give an attendance report from a small group. It is any way that they have make themselves known. And so what you're doing in this query search is basically saying, so this could be like planning sitter. We used to use Fellowship One back in the day. There's a lot of ways to do this. I think The Rock does this as well. All these different views are basically saying, if somebody we're doing a filtered search for saying, if this person right here hasn't done one of these things
in 6 weeks,
they
come on this list.
That name is going to show up on this list. We're going to print that out and we're going to bring it to the all-staff meeting.
Yeah, just real simply what we would do is just go through the list of names, and oftentimes we would find, hey, no, I just talked with Bob last week. He's good. We went and had breakfast, and so it helps us.
Wait. Bob's not out of this. He volunteered with me on Sunday. It's like, oh, I guess he forgot to check in.
Yes.
It's like, okay, cool. So they're here.
It was a proving document to help us illustrate that we were pastoring well instead of just living under the illusion that everything is okay. And so we said, hey, we're going to know who the sheep are, where the sheep are, and what the sheep need at all times, as good pastors do.
So going, gone isn't a time. It's a time to assign assignments to people that are most closely related to that person.
Yeah.
Meaning,
So
I have friendship with them, I know them, they volunteer with me, whatever, and we're going to check in with them. But I'd love for you guys to talk about, like, when you are doing a check-in follow-up with them, is it like, so why haven't you done one of these things? Like,
right. So that's what I was saying is the first thing we're doing is we got the list together. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're going through the list and said, hey, no, I think everything's good here. But even if it is good that they were there, they haven't been giving, and that may be a change of pattern, or so there may be something financial going on, whatever. I'm not talking about just the giving. It could be they lost their job or whatever. So here's the way that I always talk. We talked about it like, Hunter, they're in your small group, or Hunter, you know them or whatever, or Mark, you do, and we'll kind of go take it. Now, not everybody is that way, because some people may be more like, none of us really know them well.
They're
like
kind
that.
of out.
So then we would make those assignments.
Yep.
But we would
with our connections team, it's the default that they are going to follow up with everybody on the list. But
if we have relational,
if somebody has a relationship, the best way to follow up with the person that's closely,
is a more natural relation connection. But when we're following up, I never wanted anybody to call and say, "Hey, it seems like you've really disengaged."
No, I noticed you hadn't been checking in
or you
anymore.
didn't give, or why aren't you tithing anymore? I mean, it's not that. It's not check in like we're checking up on you. We're checking in to say, "Can we serve you?" So it's basically going, "Hey, man, I was just thinking about you. How you doing?
Yeah.
How's things going, man? Just wanted to see how you're doing. Thinking about you today, praying for you."
Yeah, and I would
anything
often,
I can pray with you
if
about.
I had people on my list, this is just how I had to deal with it in my heart. I would take that name and I would spend some minutes praying.
Yep.
I'd just be praying. Oftentimes, God would give me a scripture verse, or He might give me a word of encouragement.
Yep.
So then, when I'm calling that person, I'm saying, "Hey, Bob, man, this is Mark Brewer," and he, especially if I didn't know him that well, but I knew them and they knew me. Hey, I just want you to know, sometimes we're just praying for people in our church. This morning, I was praying for you, and I thought, I need to just not pray for Bob. I need to give him a call. How are things? And then we'd start a conversation, and it often really be real powerful.
I think the two best things you need is, I wouldn't write a script that you're reading, but I would have two things ready for somebody is, what's your opening line, basically, and what's your reason for calling.
Yeah.
If you can have those nailed down, everything else becomes relational.
Easy. Sure. Yep.
All right, so the going, gone is where we're creating those assignments.
And they would come back and put it in the database to say they contacted them and
here's
what
how
was
it
going
went.
on.
Yeah, here's what's up.
So we plug that back into Planning Center.
One of the things that helped me on that is that when somebody might leave the church and they said, "Man, I've been gone and no one has done anything. No one has said anything. No one's cared. You haven't called me." And I can look up in the database. You know that probably it may be 50-50, maybe even better on our side, that we did contact multiple different ways. It may not have been me, but there were 3 other people who called or 2, you know, and
this is a real big double click inside of this little thing, but a voicemail was sufficient for us if they didn't answer, and a lot of times they would call back. But hey, I left them a voicemail and said this. Blah, blah, blah. All right. Next up is announcements. This is easy. What do I know that the team needs to know? Try to keep that brief, 2 minutes. Cycle Rock dashboard's really big. So during this cycle, which is our 90 days focused, what are the big rocks? So Stephen Covey, big rocks. The big rock goes first. Above all else, above maintaining the normal of a Sunday's coming, a Wednesday's coming, what are the 5 to 10 big projects that we're pursuing this cycle? And then the dashboard is the one place where all the projects live, and we're giving a status report during the meeting of how's this project going, red, yellow, or green. Red means I don't believe I can accomplish the objective by the given due date. Green means I believe, even though I'm 5% done with this, I believe I can accomplish the objective by the given due date. Everybody that is a project owner, so like there's a bunch of different boxes right here in our little base camp, and you could do this on a whiteboard. Everybody is just basically saying, how's this project going, red, yellow, or green? And so we would just move it over. This one's doing a green. This one's doing a red. This one's doing a yellow, and we just move it accordingly so we know where everything stands. And then offline, we can be like, "Hey, Mark, I noticed your thing was a red. What do you need from me to help you get unstuck here?"
Yeah, what you're unpacking there is this dashboard check-in is not a place to fix why it's red or yellow. It's a place to surface that information, and then downstream we're going to go fix it. Yep.
Because it kind of goes back to that whole thing of like, why am I sitting here for 30 minutes? My stuff is green.
Yeah, pastor's helping the youth pastor fix all of these things. That has nothing to do with me.
Right.
You don't want to waste people's time like that. Team check-ins is the last thing here. Dad, I think there's a myriad of reasons why we do the team check-in, but basically all we're asking here is everybody in the room. So like for our team, we've done this with like 12 people in the room at a time. We ask them in a circle, and I usually start being like, all right, guys, last thing here, we're doing our team check-in. As you know, we want to give a number of 1 through 10, 10's being the best you've ever been, 1 being the worst you've ever been. Where do you sit today? Of course, you can give as much detail or as little detail as you want to. Why do we do this? Why do you think this is important?
Well, number one, I want people to know we value them as a person, not just as a cog in the machine.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, you're here to accomplish my vision. No, you are the vision. I want to take care of you. I want to help you. I want to serve you. I want to make sure you're good. So number one, I want them to say what it is because I want to know how to pray for them and where they're at and be sensitive to that. So if I have a meeting with Mark that day, but he said he's a 4, you know, then I'm going to understand, hey, man, I know that you're a 4. Are you okay to have that meeting still, or do you want us to put a different time like
now,
that?
Now, Mark is going to be the best 4 that he can possibly be, but we do know he's at a 4 today.
So it helps you manage your expectations.
Yep.
We talked about a lot the expectation gap. If you know that I'm a 4, it doesn't mean I still don't need to get my job done and do stuff, but your expectations of what I can bring to the table for that day helps.
It's setting up expectations and even setting up conversations. If Mark's a 4 for a month in a row, that's a different kind of conversation. What's happening, dude?
But that could be life stuff. I mean, something's going on with your kids, something going on in your marriage, something's going on with your health. I mean, there can be all kinds of things.
I'm not saying what's happening as in like you need to get your crap together. I'm saying you've been a 4 for a month. I've noticed this, but you haven't really given detail. Like, how are you? What's going on?
So we're going to look at that. But secondly, here's the deal. I find that a lot of times people don't even know what they are. Until you ask them.
Yeah.
So I think especially men, we're not always connected to our emotions as much as maybe ladies are sometimes. And so part of it, that even my wife sometimes doesn't know, hey, I'm really mad at you, but really it's probably because I'm a 4 right now, and that's probably skewing how I see it. So when you say I'm a 4, or you say wherever you're at, then you're owning. Right now, my perspective may be a little bit skewed, but
it's so true though. A lot of times we'll go in a circle, and it literally even is. It's like, okay, and Scott, how are you? And you're like, good question. Yeah, I'm probably. It's like they don't even know until you ask.
Yeah, so you have to analyze that. Thirdly, I think it gives us an opportunity that people even own that, sharing that. There's some kind of release of, okay, I don't have to walk around and go, sorry guys, I'm a 4, I'm a 4, I'm a 4. I mean, it's like a release in the place of this is where we're at. We can pray for each other. We can care for each other, and it validates. So I think it's a huge value for us, and I think it helps the team camaraderie and connectivity really be strong.
Yep. So that's like 2 minutes, and then we pray, and then we're done with the meeting. So as we look at this as a whole, we have all of these elements. I would say that you can rearrange almost all of these. I usually like to do a P3 at the beginning and team check-ins at the end. It's probably a good way to end it. All of the other Lego pieces, I think you can move around. And again, this is 62 minutes, I think, if I added this right. You can balloon this up to 90 or 30 or 45, however you want to do it.
And I think as you're getting bigger, you may say, you know what, we're not going to do this start, stop, and scale in our staff meeting. We're going to do it in a production meeting or something like that.
You know what I love about this too, as you get bigger, is what we teach is there's a big difference between leading a meeting and being the leader versus facilitating a meeting. And I want to train people in how to facilitate a meeting. So what I want to do is when these are really clear and the headings stay the same, but the bullet points changes, is like, hey, you know, Sarah, I want you to lead our start, stop, and scale this week. Hey, Bill, I want you to walk through the staff values, all of them, and say why they're important. It gives people a chance to practice facilitating the agenda.
We talked about that in the due date discipleship idea, that I always want to be making disciples. What's cool about how it's compartmentalized like that, and it's puzzle pieces that we can just add
segments,
in. Then if I want Sarah to eventually be a person who can facilitate a whole meeting really well. Let's give her a part of it and start helping her navigate through leading those different pieces. And then once she's skilled at leading all those different pieces, boom, now you can lead a whole meeting.
As a lead pastor, I'm looking at that. I'm saying there's 3 that usually I would lead. I would usually lead the P3, the teaching time, and the team check-in at the end. Because at the end, I wanted to be able to let everybody know, I am telling you, I value you, you're important,
It's
and
really
I care
good
about
call
you.
Out. Yeah, I like
but then
that.
what I did did is I said, you're the facilitator, Mark, but that may mean that you say you want Sue or whoever it is, hey, Sue, this week I want you to do the start stop. But you're doing that, not me.
Right.
To tell
the
them.
skinny of it, and we won't go into the full facilitation versus leading. If you guys want to, we can hit on that in a future podcast. Just let us know. But the facilitator is teeing up the leader for the segments that they're supposed to lead.
Yes.
The facilitator is doing a completely different job than the leader. The leader is supposed to make decisions and lead with the vision, right? So the facilitator is doing the agenda planning. They're doing the timekeeping. They're making sure we're not going off on rabbit trails. That's a completely different mindset. And most teams do the leader and the facilitator as the same person. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to do final thoughts here of why I think each one of these elements is important. And then, Dad, I'd love for your thoughts as we close. So P3 is here for spiritual alignment. The staff values are here so we maintain cultural alignment. The team teaching is here because we always want to make sure that we use leverage opportunities to make the team better. It's a leadership development opportunity. The start, stop, and scale is here because we want to make every Sunday better. Mission metrics are here to make sure that we have scoreboard clarity of, are we pursuing and moving towards the outcomes that we said we wanted to? Going, gone is here for pastoral follow-up. The announcements are here to keep everybody informed. The Cycle Rock dashboard is here for accountability and execution tracking. And the team check-ins is here is pastoral care, not just for your church, but for the people that are taking care of the people in your church, which is the team that you have every single week.
Yeah, so the premise originally was that one of the biggest time wasters is ineffective meetings. And all of us have an all-staff meeting. Closing thoughts, Pastor.
I think this is genius. I mean, when I have this, then I can really just kind of have that menu of what I need to do. It's not like I'm going, so what do we need to do this week? We already know it. It's just what needs to go in there in this season, in this time to move forward. I think it's genius.
I love it. So thank you for being with us here today on the Ready, Set, Grow podcast, and we will look forward to seeing you next time.